first. Kirsten Drysdale to the Genius Bar.
In Australia, we're so isolated from the rest of the world, we've always had to pay a little more for our entertainment. And given the high calibre of TV, film and music we import, Australians have always been happy to put up with slightly higher prices. But distribution methods have changed. Music is now purchased online. Even film and TV can be streamed over the internet. So if everything is now distributed electronically, why are we still paying so much more? Let's say you want to buy the new Bruno Mars album, because you don't know any better. In Australia, that'll set you back $14.99. But if you live in America, that same album will cost you $10.99. Americans pay significantly less, and that's hardly fair given they're the ones who inflicted Bruno Mars upon us in the first place. While the new Pink album costs us $17 and them $8. When it comes to movies, the disparity is even worse. If you want to buy, say, The Life of Pi from iTunes, that'll set you back $29.99. But if you're in America and you want to buy the exact same movie from iTunes, it'll only set you back $14.99, which is about half of what it costs in Australia. Is this the queue for iTunes? I have no idea how computers work. So why does it cost us more? Well, last year, a parliamentary inquiry tried to find out. They called in representatives from AMCOS, that's these guys, and APRA, these guys, and they were asked to ETFS, that's this. And their answer, boiled down to one unfairly simplified gesture, was, Oh, and something about how...
The difference is caused by exchange rates.
So let's look at that. In 2008, when the Australian dollar was much weaker than the greenback, we paid about 70% more for our music. But since then, the Aussie dollar's got a lot stronger, which is why we're still paying 70% more for our music. Wait, what? Then you had Aria, that's these guys, who said that it's because the cost of doing business in Australia is still higher, even for digital goods.
These businesses are running with local costs, be that wages, be that property, and importantly, marketing and what we in the music industry call A&R, which is the R&D of the music industry. Which is a fair point, but it's hard to justify a 70 to 100% markup when most of the research and development in Australian music these days seems to be done like this. So we asked Apple for answers the old-fashioned way, by paying a professional musician to record a question and uploading it directly to iTunes.
In the land of guns and apple pie, the song costs $1.29, but when I choose, here's an Aussie accent, the price goes up 70%. What? We come from the land down under, where prices grow and apple plunder.
But iTunes only responded with a download chart that showed our song getting smashed by a Bruno Mars track, which is iTunes' way of saying F you. The Senate inquiry tried to get to the bottom of this in a different but equally ineffective way, by asking Apple Australia's MD for a straight answer. Sadly, Apple didn't answer in song, but if they did, it would have sounded like this.
Your question is best directed at the guys who own the content, own the labels, own the music. We do not own the products. Talk to the rights holders, directly to the labels. The rights holders to the labels are a retailer. It's not a matter for us, it's really a question for other folks. We again would suggest that you talk specifically to the labels, the rights holders, or the studios. They will be able to give you an answer to this question, I'm sure.
As you can see, Apple's been a bit of a broken record on this issue.
Talk to the record companies, talk to the record companies, talk to the record companies.
So we did. We asked EMI, Sony and Universal why music downloads in Australia are so much more expensive. And their response in full was nothing. Absolutely nothing. But here's what we do know. Apple dictates the price structure for songs on iTunes. They only allow 3 price points. This is what they are for iTunes America, and this is what they are for iTunes Australia. Almost exactly 70% more. But where does all that money go? Well, no matter what the country, no matter what the price, Apple takes a cut, usually around 30%. So, you're doing pretty well out of this, aren't you?
Talk to the record companies, talk to the record companies, talk to the...
As for the rest, there's a small cut for music industry bodies and taxes, but the lion's share goes to the record companies. So, you do even better out of the higher prices, don't you? Mind you, it's a bit rich for one of the world's most powerful companies to pretend they can't influence iTunes prices in Australia, isn't it?
Talk to the record companies, talk...
Right. So, what can consumers do? Well, you can either wait for these two to work out whose fault it is, or you can just trick iTunes into thinking you're an American anyway. And you don't need an American credit card or to dress up like an American to do it. Aww. All you need to do is click on this button and then this button to change your iTunes interface to American iTunes. Then go to the App Store and download a free app, which will prompt you to open an American iTunes account without a payment method. Then you just use a second email address, preferably not one with a .au at the end, to open your brand new American iTunes account. Of course, we strongly discourage you from doing this because it would be a breach of Apple's terms and conditions.
It's asking me for an American postal address?
US addresses are really easy to find on the net. Any address will do, as long as it exists. We strongly recommend you don't do this. But if you should find yourself with an American iTunes account, it's quite easy to buy American iTunes gift cards online, and then you're all sorted. Hypothetically speaking.
It's working.
Because of course you wouldn't do that. And if you don't want to follow those easy steps to accessing great international content, as you shouldn't, there's always the free option. The ABC.
Coming up on ABC1, the 1964 classic Carry On Up the Life of Pi.